Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome to a new segment on my YouTube channel called McLaren Speaks. Now I'm sure you gathered that by the title, but what this actually is just a new segment just so I can actually discuss things with like my viewers, with my subscriptions, my fan base, whatever, because you guys are actually really starting to support me. It's really cool. I've got 2,300 subscribers, and I remember the day when I started with 50. And it's just mad how, all these people are coming together to come and watch me, so thank you for that, everybody. But, I've been having a lot of ideas about how I'm actually trying to get myself across to people instead of just being, somebody who performs music. So this segment is just somewhere where I can discuss musical topics, and actually, hear some thoughts from you guys as well. So it's something that is a bit more communal instead of me just putting up guitar covers and stuff like that, where I don't actually say anything. So, you'll actually get to know me as a guy, know me as a friend. This will be cool. I'm sure once I've done this a few times, my confidence will be way better than it is now, and it's cool even when I'm shy, 'cause I just sound like a chill dude. So it's all good. And this first topic, not all the topics on this segment are going to be this personal, but I thought to kickstart it off, this would be a good one to do, teach a little something about myself, and I'll hopefully teach you something in general in the process. Right, so this first episode, why metal is my favourite genre of music. Now, how I thought I should go about doing this is sort of going across all the genres and sort of crossing them off, saying why they do not fit the criteria. The criteria is to get the music to sound great to my ears, right? So here, in this case, the criteria for the music is, what does Chris McLaren like, right? What is his peak? What is the thing that makes him go, oh yes, this music is absolutely incredible, this is number one, this is in my number one spot, right? So the way that I can pretty much just obliterate almost every genre apart from my personal top four, which is going to be important, so I'll get rid of all the other genres, talk about sort of like my top four. It's sort of like this ladder that goes up where metal is at the top, sort of like that's the pinnacle, right? So you've sort of got, right, with this top four, metal, rap, and EDM. So that's dance music, anything electronic computer composition, dance music, not Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up, stuff like that, right? And then also emotional music, that can be any genre. So that's the fourth one. But this sort of gets placed in a different sort of class. It's just basically a different mood, but it's at number one. So you've got metal at number one, and then emotional music at number one. That's the sort of stuff I write on my classical guitar, if anyone's seen anything like that on my channel or whatever, right? So, but that I only feel like listening to when I'm in a different mood. But it's just as important to me as metal is, but it's not something I just go to listen to like all the time. Usually I just want to listen to metal, just go ape shit all the time, right? So, it sort of starts with metal, the same equivalent over here with the emotional music, right? But metal's the first thing I ever got into, blah blah blah. But we'll get into all this, right? So it sort of goes metal, rap, dance music, right? So just them, we'll just go for them top three, right? And basically, whenever anybody talks about metal, they always say, oh yeah, I like this because it's heavy, it's powerful, it's not this shit music, whatever, it's not this pop music, blah blah blah, right? And the way I see things is, heaviness is a completely redundant term. It's pretty much something that doesn't actually exist. It's really stupid, because the two things that make up what any song or genre is the nature of a track and the focus of a track. Now, the nature of something or of a piece of music is basically the qualities and characteristics that make it up. It's the nature of that entity, right? So with metal, the nature of it is to have usually, short note values, you're fast paced, so you're constantly doing like eighth notes, 16th notes, like full on chugging, going crazy, then on top of that, you then got the melodies, which are usually quite tight. They have a lot of tension. They're usually meant to be quite dark. They will use chromaticism or like choices of notes, like patterns of notes that are just very sort of, well, that's it, like dark, melancholic, depressive. Like they want to have the tension, it's like you're trying to crush something in your grasp, and then the focus of metal is, it's like, okay, what are we trying to do here? What image and atmosphere and setting are we trying to create, right? So it's like, okay, we have these five guys with guitars, bass, drums, vocals. We're gonna stand tall, standing like 6'10", like Godzilla, and we're just trying to absolutely destroy people, right? And then it's like, okay, this is our focus, and then we need the nature to be this, to have, really busy structure, really busy pace, fast pace, the dark melodies, right? And then that is what is going to give you, the actual ingredients and tone that make up metal. And that's another thing that also comes in a line with the sort of nature thing, where it's kind of, everything has a tone, whether it's the instrument tone, the physical timbre of the instrument that is in the instrumentation for that genre. So the literal tone of the instrument, like how a distorted guitar sounds very gritty, very fuzzy, and then when you chug it, like do a palm mute, you literally just get this chunk of sound, like this scratch. So whenever you play notes using that, it dries up all the distortion. You just get this like fat chunk, and that really amplifies like all the notes that you play in between that are accented, that then that you're trying to distinguish within a melody. So you hear it, so you're doing like the chugga chuggers, right? And then in between that, you've got all your little notes. I'm sure you've heard it all the time, like Bullet did it a lot, Metallica do it, it's just kind of like you have your low E string chugged with your melody in the middle, and then that proper comes out, and then you hear that and think, wow, that's heavy. But everything that makes you think or class, anything that makes you class that as heavy, is everything that I just mentioned. You get the timbre correct, right? So you get an instrument that has a fundamental tone, a physical tone that literally will be appropriate for this genre. So it's like, okay, we've got a guitar, that sounds good. You put distortion on it, it sounds better. You start palm muting notes, that sounds even better. That then makes your melodies, like the notes of the actual melody, stand out even more in between the chugs, right? And then you've got your focus, which is, okay, we're trying to just fundamentally kill people with this music. They want to hear this and just feel like there's nothing better. It's proper serious stuff, right? So those two things, the nature and the focus, put together, just all these little sort of like ingredients, like these little processes, then make up this thing that then people go, wow, this is heavy, this is why I don't like this pop music shit, blah blah blah, right? So basically, my favorite genres, metal, rap and dance music and emotional music, I find all have this serious nature and sort of similar focus about them, where they're trying to get across, like portray the power of the 12 diatonic pitches that we have in the sort of Western tonal system that we use to write music with, right? Genres like pop, rock, jazz, country, funk, whatever, it's all kind of feel good music. It's like, yeah, we're having a good time, we're rocking out, just all that. And it's just kind of, again, with the nature and the focus, the nature of a pop song is to be happy, catchy, laid back. It's designed to make room for a vocal where you can chill out, feel it, sing along to it, feel good because of the happy lyrical theme, blah, 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 blah. But that's the thing, the focus isn't to be this destructive force where you use these 12 notes to get your point across, where you go, this is the music that we write with, this is the music that literally inspires us to do what we do every day and inspires us to do the things that we don't want to do every day, and we're going to take this and our influence and then give it to you through our music and go, yes, this is our gift to you that has been given to us, that, you know, we want to spread to everybody because we love it so much. You know, that is what I find like these genres like metal, rap, and dance is all about. It's about truly feeling what music is, instead of being separate parts. Like, for example, like in a pop track like Teenage Dirtbag, you know, you don't listen to the guitar track and go, oh, this is absolutely amazing, this is beautiful. You know, it's just there as an ingredient, where when you combine that with like four other ingredients like the bass line, the vocal, and the drums, that then becomes this overall tone, this overall image of a pop track, where you just hear that alone and go, oh yeah, this is good, you know, and then everyone starts singing along to the hook, Teenage Dirtbag, you know, whatever, right? But all these genres that have this sort of feel good like nature about them because of the things they do in their tracks, you know, like they have their like happy little motifs and melodies, blah blah blah, that are just repeated to then be a part of other things that then create an overall look. You know, all these sort of genres, you know, I find aren't doing what it is that I want to feel, where I find I'm in the same sort of group or class as these people who are truly inspired by these 12 pictures that we have, that really sort of make you feel when they're used in a way, when they are focused in a way to really get, you know, their power across to you, you know. And that's what I find metal, rap, and dance and like emotional tunes do. And that is what, you know, the composers that write them songs are trying to do with them notes. They're just trying to make you feel, you know, the power of, you know, of this music, of these notes, right? So basically, that's why these top four genres are sort of basically in my top four, right? So then that gets rid of just all these genres that just, you know, it's just what I mentioned before, like pop, rock, jazz, funk, country, blah, 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 blues, whatever, right? Because I listen to it and I just don't feel it. Like the nature, so fundamentally what they do, the material, what they compose, what they're trying to do with it, what qualities make it up, you know, like all them things within those genres aren't like tuned to what I want to hear. Whereas the nature and focus of these other genres that I keep mentioning, my favorites, metal, rap, dance, blah, 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 right, are, you know, that is the right thing. They have, those composers have pinpointed what it is that I want to hear, right? So from then we start at the bottom. So like these four genres are still there. They haven't been crossed off, right? So you have dance music at the bottom at position number 3, right? So dance music, I find dance producers really have great vision and a lot of creativity, and usually they have a concept for whatever track that they write. You know, trance music, it's massive 8 to 10 minute, whatever, 6, 8, 10 minute pieces that have tons of layers and atmosphere, textures. You know, they have like, they'll come up with like a melody that'll be really, really good, that then makes it valuable enough so it's appropriate for it to be repeated, so then people don't get bored, right? And then before people get bored, another layer will come in, so then that completely revamps that previous section that you've just been listening to, creating a new variation. So again, your sort of like clock has restarted until you start getting bored again, and it's like, well, something else has came in, restart, goes back round, oh shit, a completely new section, restart. And then every time they come in with something or change a section, anything that they write it, like I say, with this sort of nature of like these melodies to be absolutely great, grand, and beautiful, you know. And then, like I say, they have a lot of focus where they know what setting they want to create, they know what atmosphere they want to create, and they literally do create it with all these layers. Like I say, like they'll just have like lots of atmospheric sort of instruments, just like little layers on top, just to fill out the texture, you know, just so it isn't like this dry, bland track. It's like this massive listening experience. It's great, right? And then you move up from there to rap music, and then, you know, you have a beat that has lots of different instruments, different solid instruments, different variations of these instruments, and each time, again, the producer of the beat will come up with like a really solid melody that makes you go, wow, this is great. I would love to just listen to this as a beat on its own for 3 minutes, literally repeated. I mean, imagine that with like half of the rock tracks that are out there. Imagine if you just repeated like the verse riff or the intro riff of the whole song. You know, people would be like, "What the fuck is this completely waste of space track?" You know, just this one riff with lyrics over it. This is one of the most poorly pieces of like written material that I've ever heard. You know, so you literally like I haven't even started with this rap thing. It's literally you have a beat, you have the instruments within it, and they're doing whatever they are doing, created so they are completely of worth, they are completely of value. They are written so then that value can then be completed, like completely repeated throughout, and then on top of that, which is like the main ingredient, is the rapper, right? And then I tend to listen to a lot of fast rappers, and that's the thing because they have a standard of rapping fast. And if you can have a standard of rapping fast, you can literally do whatever you want. You know, the world is your oyster. You have complete creative freedom. You can slow down, speed up, you know, change the vocal tone, change the melody, you know, so you're changing your notes as well as the rhythmic values, you know, so it's literally like doing a guitar solo from start to finish over a completely solid track that is completely solidly written, you know, so it's able to be repeated without being bored. And then it has just all this crazy stuff going apeshit on top of that coming from the vocal, right? And then just because of, I say, because of the nature of how rap is written, you know, whenever I listen to a dance track, I will sort of like listen to it and then think, this is incredible, but once I come out of it, like I've changed the song or, you know, took my headphones out, whatever, you know, like I've moved on. The song, like I still remember that it's there and that it's influenced me and that I can't live without it. But the thing is, you know, it's kind of, until I go to listen to it again, it's just a song in my mind. But the thing is, I find with rap, it's just that little bit more real, where like I'll just think, yes, this rapper, like these rappers have changed my life, like they influence me all the time. You know, like I'll see them post on Facebook and then like I'll reply and just, you know, I'll just say how much they mean to me and stuff like that. You know, and I just find there's just a bit more of a human element because you fundamentally have this human being constantly talking at you with their own vocal style that we can all relate to, since, well, pretty much all of us can speak since, well, not birth, but you know what I mean, right? So it just has this little bit where I just feel like, yeah, this music is incredible. And these people who do it are literally gods, and it's just absolutely crazy. I feel it so much, and I feel like their message and all their sort of like vocab that they all have, like they all sort of create like their own sort of like lyrical themes where words reoccur, you know, like album like tropes and things like that, where you keep seeing like album titles that are related directly just to that artist and their lyrics and stuff like that and who they are. You know, it's very inspiring where everybody is just kind of, you know, the rappers who are really in it to be a composer, a musician, they're really in it to be themselves. They use whatever experiences they've lived throughout their lives to become who they are as that one entity, as that one rapper, you know. And when you feel their music, you just think, wow, this is incredible, you know. And then basically, this is where I'm at. So position 2, right? And then there's only one thing that is better than this, and then that is metal, right? Basically, you know, it's kind of, with music nowadays, you have complete creative freedom. With computer composition, we have access to every single frequency that is available on this earth, and we can manipulate them however we want. So there is literally unlimited creative freedom, right? But say somebody came out with a new genre, like in the future or whatever, I just know that that genre would still not, I wouldn't feel it more than how I feel metal, just because the nature of metal, and like I say, the focus is just so primitive, but the music is written so well. So like the nature of the piece, you know, they all just write their melodies just to be absolutely like crazy, and then when they try to go in to be beautiful, it's just massive because of the complete appropriate nature of the tone of the guitars and like the distorted vocals and the power, the aggression, you know. And then just like the focus of this primitive like vibe, this personality that it's got, where it just makes you feel like a gorilla, like you just want to bang your chest, like you're listening to Soulfly, like the groove. My favorite band, Ectomorph, like they don't use a lot of melody and stuff like that, but yet they use groove and they just absolutely kill it. And it's like there's just nothing that I feel like is more valuable than this, that could ever be created, that is more valuable than this to my ears. I just think it sounds incredible. And then where dance and rap fail, where a lot of those elements are repeated, but like I say, they write things that are good enough, so then they are like allowed to be repeated that long. Whereas like metal, they'll write something that's incredible, like a riff that you just think, wow, this is amazing. Like for example, like after the second verse in One by Metallica, before it goes into the bridge with like the before that and after the second verse, where they just have like this on the guitars, like this massive big power chord, like harmony, like solo jam thing, like where they're just killing it, and you just think this is incredible. And then there's another 4 minutes of different stuff that comes in, just completely different things. It's not like in dance where it's like a section and then a hi-hat comes in or a new melody. It literally completely changes, with everything completely like taken down and then like recreated differently. But the thing is, every time they do that with all these different sections and different parts in metal music, like it's just as valuable as something that could be repeated like for 36 bars or whatever, yet they're changing it constantly, and it's just amazing. And it just creates this atmosphere or this creation that just makes you think there is nothing that is better than this. It's just people who have these instruments, who happen to take an interest in a genre that happens to be so on point, and then when they play it properly, like with, like for example, like one of my favorite melodic death metal bands, Mors Principium Est, like they literally just have these melodies where, like I say, the nature of the melodies is to be very dark, very sad, but when it's done on like distorted guitars with the palm mutes, the aggression, it just sounds amazing. It's very epic. It's like soundtrack music, but with fucking metal, man. It's insane. And then they just literally like go from one section with like this melody with the harmony, and then the crazy like sort of like angelic vocal. It's like an angel but like the devil at the same time, just shouting this like massive stuff at you, like with these like godlike lyrical themes and things. And then like the guitars are just going ape shit, and then they're going to a completely different section. You go from the verse, and then you go to the pre-chorus, gets even bigger, then it goes to the hook, and it's just massive. It's just absolutely crazy, and there's just nothing that I find does anything better than that. And that's what I mean. Say if somebody then brought out like a electronic genre or something like that, where it's kind of like, well, there probably already is stuff like this, but it would be very sort of reminiscent on metal or whatever. But there'll be something that makes it a completely new genre. So it's a new genre. I already know that there's nothing that can replace the nature of metal, like do what metal does or do it differently, but then have it so it means more to me than metal does. Because they just seem to they just tick all the boxes. It's just absolutely crazy how valuable this material is, and how the nature, like all these different points that make up the nature, the characteristics of this genre, they're all just done to 100%. So then when they're all compiled and toppled together, the score of this genre as a whole is literally going through the roof. It's like 1,000%. I'll be banging my head to metal for, I will be for years. I have been for years, and there's just nothing that I find is any better than that. And that's about it. If I've missed anything, please ask me, because I hope that was consistent enough for you guys. But that is basically it. That's just the real shit. There's just nothing better than metal to my ears, metal to my ears, not music to my ears. Yeah, so that's it, guys. The next episode is gonna be it's gonna be something a bit different, but I don't want to like spoil the fun, so I won't tell you what it is. So yeah, that's it, and hopefully the flow of these things will get better. This is just the first episode, whatever, right? So I'll stop talking, man. I've been talking for time. So yeah. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Thank you for all the support. It's because of you guys that I want to start, developing myself and making my channel better, which is why, you know, I'm getting these ideas and videos out. So thank you very much, guys, and all the best. Take care.